all media and stuff like that. NPR rocks, PBS rocks, Fraggle rocks. Um, but this is the context in which our contemporary political communication sort of exists in, and political communication is created through in this book. So, and it's really, really problematic. But just know, this is what's going on, and we need to try to combat a lot of this stuff to make our world a better place, America. Politicians, political consultants, and the media. When you've got political consultants working for politicians and trying to get stuff out, obviously they're trying to get out the message of the candidate. But this is what the research says. Really, the two types of communication, the two types of messages, one could say, image and issues, but perhaps image is most important. What is an image? You know what an image is? It's an overall perception of how you have of your candidate. What is your image of Hillary Clinton? What is your image of Donald Trump? And oftentimes it has very little to do with where they stand. Well, it's where they actually stand, but where they stand on the positions. They say image is created by a variety of factors: manner of speaking, appearance, character, and how we perceive character. And all. So, in a lot of ways, we focus too much on character and image, and these candidates become themselves sort of like little products, like Hardee's. Hardee's has an image. What do you think when you think about Hardee's? Well, there's contradictory images. You think these terrible commercials and charcoal burgers that are good. But so it is really problematic that we rely, they build and create images for us to suck in. And this is one of the big points here. Our reliance on images in political communication raises troubling questions for our democracy, according to some experts. First, there is no check on the truthfulness of the image, because the image is just a perception. I'm a hard worker. I'm a good person. I want to make America great again. But how can you fact check that image? Jameson argues that the 1988 presidential campaign in particular revealed weaknesses in defense systems against political whatever. But yeah, so basically, a lot of issues of character and everything like that character can be easily misrepresented, represented in various commercials, blah 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 blah. So it's hard to check image, hard to question image. Second, the public has difficulty discerning the credibility of images which we are confronted. Sometimes, look at the way that news is covering the images because gender now is part of that image. The credibility of a political image lies not in some independent check on its accuracy, but in its past success as a news formula. Trump as a show person, it's become a reality show. So image, that's problematic, in part because we don't think about the issues, but that is the second thing, but still. They, for the most part, political consultants who are helping politicians focus on the issues that they think is going to get them elected. And that, again, can be bad because there might be other issues. So basically, despite not only do candidates talk about the image and the image of their opponents, because they do, it's all about image, but candidates also talk about their position on various policy issues. In fact, research suggests that winning candidates speak more often about policy issues than their opponents, who actually spend more time talking about character. Despite this research finding, the news media create an expectation that candidates should instead talk about their image and attack the image of their opponent. Often, politicians will focus on issues that will help them create an audience that has enough votes to elect them. By studying a large block of undecided voters, candidates can choose issues that will appeal to those voters. Often these blocks of voters are based on demographic or geodemographic factors. The most successful candidates are able to integrate their issue stands and articulate a theme throughout their campaign that reflects audience needs and desires. So it's like, okay, I guess it's placating in a way. And then the last thing here underneath all this type of stuff is folks motivate audiences, voters, not so much through reason, not so much for them, that's why it ties to image, talk more about image than issues, but then focus on only certain issues, and oftentimes, but make people, Clinton needs to be in jail. Trump needs to be in jail. It's all about him. So basically, Bruce Grombeck argues that politics today is too complicated for rational discussion, and it is. Instead, politicians appeal to their audience's emotions as a way to cut through the clutter of the media age and form relationships with voters. He labels this phenomenon feelings talk. Politicians take action to make the campaign relevant to potential voters. Grombeck says that in particular, patriotic displays are used to impress upon voters the importance of political action. Rallies are used red, white, and blue flags. Candidates tell highly emotional stories. They go on late night television shows to personalize themselves, all to sort of build up that image. Grombeck sees dangers in sentimental politics. When audience members act based on feelings, they may be more likely to engage in extreme actions, such as those taken by militia or patriot movements. In addition, we may vote for a candidate who does not represent our interests or beliefs because we're voting on emotion. This person makes me angry at this other person. Yeah. If you're angry, don't vote. So, there you go. So a lot of folks, it's all about image. Which is, that's bad, because part of that's bad. Even though there is some focus on the issues, the news coverage wants to make it all conflict, image versus image, character versus character, and folks are motivated for the most part through emotion and not reason and logic, and not fully understanding this complicated world we live in and where people actually stand on the issues. So, and that's problematic. Avenues of media that we'll talk about later on in the course. Obviously, when we think about contemporary media, by the way, media is plural for medium, right? And mass media is all these things that get to the masses of people, like internet, social media, advertising. It can be on the internet, but also on TV, newspapers, even old school newspapers. Coverage of conventions, speeches and rallies that are covered through the media, and then debates that are upcoming that's going to be covered by the media, and some people are going to watch it. And people will say whoever they like wins. But the big takeaway here is that oftentimes, particularly through the way, I have shorts on, and I know it. Particularly through this melodramatic sort of lens, it creates, in the horse race, it polarizes things. So again, it makes folks think that they're further apart than they are, and we can't get along. And we've got this this contrived polarization that's problematic. And then everything becomes about the image of the candidate, the character of the candidate, more so than the issues, I would argue. And folks are motivated not so much by reason and logic and understanding things, but by emotion and not really knowing a damn thing. Okay, so that's some of the stuff on media. I will have more stuff at some point, maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow. Not tomorrow, I'm going to Asheville. Maybe probably this weekend. But this is enough for you to sort of take a look at this week. And also remember, I have that new thread on. Remember to tweet. Another thing that I'm going to do over the course of the weekend is to put up the more information about the very first paper, because that's really what you need to be thinking about and working on. This is the first big assignment in this class, really, is that first rhetorical analysis paper. So I'll say more about that later. Take care. Have a wonderful evening.